Thank you very much. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to speak today. We're really happy with how things have gone for us, so I'll get straight into it with what we're developing up there in the Northern Territory. We're 75 kilometres southwest of Tennant Creek, which is known as one of the richest goldfields in the history of not just Australian mine, but also globally. So I'll let you read that in your own time. That locates us. We're right in the middle there of the Northern Territory. I'll start at the finish. Our PFS produced an NPV of $450 million for what is quite a small, manageable project. We will be producing downstream precious and critical minerals. I don't see the point in the rest of the world just using Australia as a sandpit anymore, and the government is getting right behind this movement towards getting as downstream as possibly as we can, and we're certainly part of that movement. Like everyone here, we'll be responsible for what we do, and we'll make sure we are operating not only to produce critical minerals, but that we are using them within our operations and being part of that movement. As you can see, we've only got 240 million shares on issue and $6 million still in the bank. We treat our shares as very precious, and we don't wish to dilute unnecessarily. So we are doing things in a very economical way, and you'll see where we're at as we move quickly through the presentation. That locates us, and we have some great infrastructure there. The Stuart Highway, north to south railway running from Adelaide through to Darwin, and the natural gas pipeline, the Amadeus natural gas pipeline, runs 40 kilometres from our flagship Rover 1 project, which is sitting there in the middle of the screen, which we'll be discussing here. We've got 1,000 square kilometres of tenements up there, and there are 3 other targets that are ready-made projects ready to feed into this infrastructure once we've developed the Rover 1 project. So this breaks up our revenue of that 450 mil NPV that you saw. 42% copper, and I'm going to do what I can to keep the exposure to the upside to the copper. Gold is about 33% of our revenue. You've got cobalt at 13%, and the 96.5% magnetite, which can be used either in coal washing or as a supplement to steel making. And we've had a lot of interest in all 4 of these products. And so you can see, I guess you can read between the lines here, it's a great opportunity for us to do some funding for this development through these 4 different revenue streams from this one mine. I'll play the video and talk a little bit over the top. Just turn the music down a bit, thank you. So I'll let it locate us. And as I said, this is one of the richest minefields, goldfields in globally. The Warrego project to the north produced 8 million tonnes at 8 grams and 2% copper. One of the most profitable mines in history. So you're looking at the deposit now. We've done 90 kilometres of diamond drilling, and you can see some of the spectacular grades, which I'll quickly have a look at a little bit later in the presentation as well. There's the structure, the gold and the copper as you see it, green and gold obviously. We've only got 4.3 million tonnes here to mine and process, so that's 8 years at 500,000 tonnes per annum. You're seeing a straight decline. There will be electric haulage fleet operating up and down that decline, and we're not reinventing the wheel when it comes to underground mining, 25 metre intervals, 40 metre stopes. And you can just do the maths yourself there at 500,000 tonnes per annum and $250 million or thereabouts in annual revenues. It's worth about $500 a tonne, each tonne that we mine from this deposit. So we'll do $2 billion all up in revenue, and you can see that pre-tax cash flow of $1 billion. And it is largely due to this commitment to go downstream, which you see within this processing circuit here. So it's oxidation. 500,000 tonnes will go into the crusher. Only 100,000 tonnes of that is required to go through to oxidation and SXEW. This is a proposed plant layout, and in about 7 weeks' time, we will start testing this plant in a pilot plant. So we'll run that for about 3 to 4 weeks, and we'll know the results. And we'll be potentially looking at ores from other companies in the area as well. That's the key there. Gold doré straight to the Perth Mint, 99% copper that we can sell to anyone in the world, any end user in the world. Cobalt, same again, 99% to any battery manufacturer in the world. and the magnetite can go to the eastern seaboard to the coal, thermal coal refineries over there, or overseas to potentially be a steel blend, or as I said, as a coal refining product. So I just wanted to highlight some of the spectacular intersections that this deposit has produced. You know, we're talking in more or less in ounces over here, 30 metres at over 1 ounce per tonne, and then you've got 7 metres at around 4 ounces per tonne, and then in the copper, 21 metres at 7%. Spectacular grades that make up this deposit. There are sections where there's higher grade gold and other sections where there's higher grade copper. We've only targeted the copper and the gold. The magnetite and the cobalt come up free on surface and are considered byproducts, but they're very nice byproducts to have. As I said, we're not reinventing the wheel here, and clearly we have ring-fenced this area of the deposit. It continues at depth. Like all things, when you're doing a study, you have to ring-fence at a certain time. We put in some late holes and picked up another 50,000 ounces, which you would have seen in our announcements in last July. So we know there's plenty more to do once we get down into the structure. As I said, produces great numbers. The number I like the most is the average annual free cash flow of $110 million per year. And it just gives you an idea of how it's possible to have this 46% IRR. And that is the strength of downstream minerals. By adding about $40 million to our CapEx, we've added $1 billion to our revenue over 8 years. It was an absolute no-brainer for us. And this particular deposit is very amenable to this oxidation process. It only requires 70 minutes inside the autoclave. So you can see we are dealing with a very manageable size of ore that can be easily manufactured for where we are. To give you an idea of the annual production, it's about 30,000 ounces of gold, 7,000 tonnes of copper, 300 to 400 tonnes of cobalt, and 75,000 tonnes of that 96% magnetite material. We have had interests from streamers, from end users in all of those products. And with gold now at 3,000 Australian dollars an ounce, obviously that's a great avenue for us to finance this development. You can see that the total material extracted up there, I talked about 4.3 million tonnes over 8 years. You've seen the circuit. The bottom right half, if you like, the bottom right quarter of this particular slide is where the money's at, and we can absolutely maximise that through that test pilot plant that we're running now. There's a proposed layout of the plant. That's Rover 1. There's our CapEx. It'll 280 million, 160 for the plant, and obviously we think we can cut into that by some of the things that we can do, but highly financeable when you see those revenues from those particular metals that people are interested in streaming and or picking up themselves as an end user. So we'll get through our bankable feasibility study, the main part being, as I mentioned, the pilot test plant, and then we'll be sitting right in the box seat for all of those requirements that the federal government is chasing here. I want to talk about copper, the elephant in the room. I'm told by the World Bank, in the next 23 years, we have to produce as much copper to achieve those net zero 2050 targets as mankind has produced in the last 5,000 years. Good luck at $4 a pound. I think the copper price is going up. We do a lot of work within our community. They are necessary for us, and as we are to them. And just as a little finish off to show you what's in this area that we're looking at, we have a 12 million tonne lead zinc deposit, which is next cab off the rank, and I'll let you look at that in your own time. And we've also now just picked up some ground in WA near Fortescue. We'll be looking for lithium, and we'll be looking for rare earths on this particular piece of ground. It's near the Fortnum gold mine, which is also owned by Westgold. So that's it. We're developing Rover 1. We've got the next lead zinc project coming through, ready to go, and we are again amassing our greenfields ability to look at for critical minerals. We're getting strong offtake and debt papers presented to us from people that want these products. Strong support from the government, and that's about it. We're ready to go. Thank you very much.